Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sunny, and I am here with some cool people. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Howdy doodle dandy.
That is a wonderful intro. That's good. That's top tier intros. You know, normal I do intros every time, but that's a good one.
Gotta mix it
That's
up a little.
one.
Yeah. I feel good about that one, guys. So of course we have myself, Sunny. We have Caleb here in the studio with me, and we have on the line a very special avian individual.
That's me. I am the largest of birds in the sky.
Yep, that's him, Mr. Giant Skyhawk. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I am good. Just spent some time working out the specifics of how Royal Penguin Gardens interacts if I have to reveal a penguin, but I have another penguin in my hand. Very fun time. That's about it.
Sounds
That's pretty much
like
all I
it.
did. That's about all I did today.
That's what this man does. This man sits in the lab for 10 hours a day figuring out how new cards work before they come out. That's this man's job.
Mhm.
Figuring out how to
Nine-
break fluffles with new cards that aren't even fluffle cards. Let's go, baby.
9 to 5, 5 to 9 every day.
That's right. All right. So we have not a ton to talk about, but what we do have to talk about, we're going to talk about it a ton. So what we have here today is first a little bit of quick play news before I forget. There is a new blue letter secret rare giveaway card on the Konami Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. I believe is it only Twitter or is it all three?
I believe it is Twitter and Instagram. That's usually how they do it. I don't think they've done as many Facebook ones in the past, but
Yeah, probably because Facebook is terrible. So but it is. It's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram according to YG organization. So you can win a blue lettered secret rare Blue Eyes alternative White Dragon. All you have to do is go onto either the Twitter, the Facebook, or the Instagram. Use the hashtag Yu-Gi-Oh at Home EU, or well, this says EU. I think there's a different one if you're in North America.
I have the tweet actually. It
Oh,
is
okay.
hashtag sweepstakes, hashtag YGO collection.
Okay.
Right. But you also have to post a picture of your coolest Blue Eyes card, I think.
It has to be specifically like Blue Eyes related. It doesn't have to be a card, but it has to be like blue. It says Blue Eyes White Dragon themed cards, toys, and or accessories.
Right.
Okay, cool. Just whatever.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
Blue Eyes related, whatever it may be. Whatever you got lying around that's got blue eyes on it. You got your kid lying around and they've got blue eyes, grab them. Put their picture out there. Dog's got blue eyes. You're up, hound dog. Let's go.
God.
Especially if it's a white dog.
Yep,
I
blue
should
eyes, white
probably-
dog.
I was going to enter this, but I am not going to out of principle, as I want them to stop printing Blue Eyes support. But if you would like a foil blue letter Blue Eyes alternative White Dragon, definitely do this because not a lot of people enter. I actually know people who won the Joan, the Guardian
won the
Angel Joan when
Joan.
that happened. You should. Oh, you won the Joan too?
I won the United We Stand and the Joan. Yes.
Damn. Well, I mean that's the point. You should enter because you actually have a pretty high chance to snag one.
Yeah, I was actually really upset with Palladium Oracle Mahad that I didn't win it because I didn't go 3 for 3. It made me actually very upset.
Yeah. I didn't win.
Oh
I didn't win any of them.
no! Darn,
Yeah.
I missed out on Mahad.
Yeah. I was like, hey, I could have the whole collection. The gang's all here. I take that back. I wouldn't have that. I sold them. I sold them all instantly. Yeah, I got good money for those cards.
Valid move, honestly.
Yep, that's the only reason I can afford to play this game because I'm still riding off those cards' coattails.
Yeah.
So
Hey, fair enough.
but so if you want to ride off a single card's coattails for a year and a half, be sure to enter this giveaway. It closes, I think, on November the 5th. I think something like that. So
I will scroll. It is November the 7th.
7th. So close. All right, but be sure to enter it. If you enter it, it closes on November the 7th. They'll message you sometime around Christmas to let you know you won, and you'll get your card sometime around March. So,
Yeah. Give or take.
yeah. But it's worth a ton of money, and this one will probably be worth more money than all the other ones combined. This one, if I had to guess, will probably be worth $3 to $4 grand at least. So I think that's about it for that. Before we go any further, I want to take just a quick moment to thank our Patreon. So a huge thank you, of course, to Big Breath, because now there's so many. Austin Johnson, Kane Martin, Mocha, Myth Oceanus, Pig, Scuzz Daddy, Aaron Gardner, Adil Saeed, Anthony Leela, Mountain Man, Owen Alvarado, Jeremy Drysdale, Ray Powell, and Sunny Sweet. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the podcast. There's a bit more on, big applause. There's a bit more about the Patreon that I'm going to talk about a little later, so fellas, don't let me forget that. Past that, I do think that the next thing we have to talk about is the only tournament results we pretty much have, which is the Chalislime monthly results.
Yep.
Yeah, boy.
So, for those unfamiliar, every month, MBT Monoblutron, he is one of the biggest streamers in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. He hosts a 128-man tournament played on EDO Pro with free admission, prizing, and live commentary with Sir Eminon. So, for this tournament, Synchro Storm was legal, but Bode was not. If I'm not mistaken, I heard him say that the reason that Bode was not legal because there was no way to check to make sure that EDO Pro was going to have the cards correctly updated to TCG text and TCG rulings in time for the event.
Better safe than sorry.
Is that?
Yep,
I think is that correct?
that is actually exactly what it was. In fact, doing Synchrostorm was actually a bit of a stretch. On the mod team for the MBT server is Luna, aka Alpha Cretin, who is a dev on the EDO Pro team. And
wow, I
they
didn't realize
basically
that.
and they basically were like, so we're not going to be able to do Bode in time, especially because the Beat Trooper stuff was revealed like 24 hours before the event.
Right.
So they were able to make a custom list in time for the tournament so that the Synchrostorm stuff would be legal. So that's why this is funny because this tournament encapsulates like the exact week that Synchrostorm is legal, but Bode is not. So this is really funny.
It creates an extremely weird and interesting meta.
Yes,
Yep.
it does.
So that weird and interesting meta results in the overall deck representation looking like this. 10% Tri Brigade, 7% Drytron, 4% Phantom Knights, 4% Lyrilisk, 3% Amazement, 2% Prank Kids, 2% Dragon Link, 2% IDS.
Invoke Dogma Shadal.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I thought it was somebody with bowel issues. 2%
IBS.
Speedroid and 64% Other.
I mean,
case
that's a
you didn't-
well-known fact about invoked players is that they
Yeah.
have bowel problems, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and if you didn't hear it, it's 2% Speedroid, just in case.
Yeah. So,
And that was the entire full 128.
yes.
Top 16, we had 2 Phantom Knights, 2 Mech Knights, 1 Tri-Brigade Lyrilisk, 1 Drytron, 1 Eldritch, 1 Pure Lyrilisk, 1 Super Quantum, 1 Earth Machine, 1 Altergeist, 1 B-Trooper, 1 Subterror, 1 IDS, Invoke Dogmatic Shadal, 1 Mystic Mine, 1 Blackwing.
And for those that want the top 16 lists, you can find them at YugiOhProDeck.com. There should be a Reddit link to the Chalislime monthly breakdown. Every month, MBT posts the Chalislime monthly breakdown on Reddit with some, paragraphs of talking about the different, what's the word I'm looking for? The different ins and outs of this month's tournament. So, and it'll also have a link in that post to the top 16 deck lists on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. So, if you want that, there will be a link to the Reddit post in the description below. So, but it's really interesting. The top 4 was Orchist, Phantom Knight, Mystic Mine, and Lyrilisk. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, Jeff Leonard won with Mystic Mine.
This is his second win, by the way. This is the second time he has won one of these.
He's also top YCSs with this deck, hasn't he?
I don't think he has a YCS top cut. He has made it to multiple PPG top cuts. That's kind of where he came to prominence. Is that SEMO and MBT found him at a PPG playing Mystic Mine, and they were like, "We got to get this guy on camera," and then he topped the event.
That's so funny.
Jeff, honestly, I think it's been brought up here before, but Jeff is a genius. Like, it doesn't show up as much because he's playing like the deck that he is, but he is constantly tweaking the list. Like, It's been quite a while since it's come to the main deck, but he was main decking a mono Iwato instead of Dimension Shifter because he was expecting a lot more like combo boards that could work without stuff getting banished. He swapped
I
from
saw that.
Final Countdown to a single Cauldron of the Old Man because he was
Just
having
one.
problems with time.
Just a single copy. That's insane.
Yeah, the list is massive brain. He's playing 43 to not deck out.
Yep.
It is, and he like all of top 16. He dropped a single game, and the previous one he won that wasn't this tournament. He didn't drop a single match. He lost once in Swiss. So, and the shame is, Mystic Mind's not going to get banned because the card that makes the list tick, which is Goddess Skald's Oracle, is not legal in remote duels. So you will almost never see this anywhere outside of your physical locals or an online tournament like this because you can't legally resolve Oracle in remote duels.
So here's something interesting. I went to a physical tournament around. Ooh, when was that tournament? It was the Ghosts from the Past case tournament, 4 hours away in Mississippi. We go there, and don't you know, I'm 2-2. There's only 5 rounds in the tournament. And at this point, I'm playing because I rode with other people, and they're like making it into top cut. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna drop and just sit on the corner. I'm gonna keep playing.
Yeah, you have nothing better to do, so might as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm playing Zulich at the time because at the time Virtual World was still the best deck, and because of True King, I could play a Eldritch deck. So anyway, I'm playing Zulich, and my opponent sits down. This guy Noah from Nashville, I'll never forget him. And he pulls out full on Mystic Mind Burn with Cauldron of the Old Man and a mono Iwato in the main deck. And it was the worst thing that I've ever experienced in my entire life.
It's really funny because normally Eldritch actually is a pretty good matchup against Mystic Mind.
Yeah, but I didn't know
Because-
what it was doing.
Yeah, because you had Conk, but yeah, that's fair. But like, and Golden Lord is the thing, but if they establish Mine Field Barrier, good luck.
Yeah, he established
What are you
mine
gonna
to
do?
Cauldron of the Old Man, and he had Prohibition on Conk, Dryden, and he had Prohibitions up for like all my removal cards.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Well-
and he was what he would do was this is really funny. He would go what's the name of that? The Goddess Skull's Oracle, and he would look at the top 3
Yep.
cards of my
You
deck,
Yep.
and it was just like he burned me just in time before I got to it was either Harpy's Feather Duster or I don't know, 2 other cards that basically auto lost him the
Yep.
game.
The crazy thing about Skull's Oracle too is that it is essentially a guarantee that you win. Like the only
That card's
way
insane.
the only way that Goddess Skull's Oracle like you can beat it is if you somehow end up with 3 back or removal cards on
Yep.
top of the deck at the same time
Yep.
while your opponent doesn't have like a Judgment or a Dark Bribe.
Yep.
Or
It's
a
insane.
Field Barrier if it's not like specifically Cosmic. So you have to get extremely lucky to even have a chance if Oracle comes down.
Yeah, so basically, for those that don't know, Goddess Skull's Oracle is a disgusting card that says look at the top 3 cards of your opponent deck and put them back in any order, basically.
Oof.
Yeah. But your opponent doesn't get to see what they are.
Oh, so you said Dark Bribe, and that reminded me of this hilarious post that I must share with everyone. The way to show your opponent you have no fears that they activate Upstart Goblin, you Dark Bribe it.
I'm going -1 because I want to.
Because I do not fear
yeah.
you.
I decide if you draw. Yeah.
No, you will not draw by your own effect. You will draw by my effect.
Look, listen, this
Speaking
is my
of-
decision, not yours. I run this
True.
show.
Speaking of spell cards, this is the other key thing that's interesting about Jeff's list, and I can't believe that we've spent this long talking about Mystic Mind theory. But he has actually moved all of the counter trap cards into the side deck. He is not main
Yes.
decking them.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think he was.
Uh,
I don't think he was main decking any trap cards, was he?
And no, he wasn't. And his reasoning for that was because if he's going first and he's already got the setup, his opponents will probably scoop. And if he's going second and he gets the setup, his opponents will probably scoop. So he was saying for game 1, I want to make it as consistent as possible to get to mine and win the game. and that
Out of
means cutting the counter
curiosity,
traps.
how do you set up Mystic Mine on turn 0?
Oh, have you heard of Silent Wabi before?
I've
So
heard of the card, but off
yeah.
the top of my head, I don't remember what it does.
So, firstly, you can Field Barrier. Field Barrier prevents the mine from destroying itself, even if there are no monsters, and it will only attempt to try to destroy itself once. So, so you just do that. Silent Wabi. So early versions of, for those who don't know the Jeff Leonard lore,
Oh, wow.
I'm a
I'm
PhD in the
reading this
lore.
card now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the previous card was DD Guide that he would use to normal summon, and DD Guide's effect is when it's normal summoned, it changes control to your opponent. But they found out that DD Guide was an activated effect, and it just had really old problem-solving card text. So they found Silent Wabi, and Wabi actually has some other interesting applications.
The most interesting part about Silent Wabi is that it has one printing as a gold seeker rare, and that's it.
Yes, it has received waves of buyouts specifically because it sees play in this.
Yes.
So Wabi's specific reason that it's better than DD Guide is because the summon is just a condition. It doesn't activate. And it does say that your opponent draws a card, but that part is an activated effect. So if you activate Mystic Mine and then give your opponent Wabi, they can't activate the effect of draw. But the hand size limit isn't an activated effect. So your opponent's hand size limit becomes 3. So not only is it like a weird pseudo floodgate, but you can get around the draw you give your opponent, and they can't like negate the effect to summon because it's not an
That's
effect.
insane.
It's just a summoning condition.
That's
Yeah.
so insane.
Yep.
That's rough.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, right? This deck is actually good. It's just people don't play it because they don't want to be run out of their locals. So
Yep. The deck's insane, to be honest with you.
yeah, so keep it in mind.
Yeah, Silent Wabi is $6 for a near mint first. Not bad.
It was
So
20
the other
3 months ago.
do what?
It was like 23 months ago.
Yeah. So Tri-Brigade Lyrilisk. I think this is actually the best deck this format.
There's an
Super
argument.
Super Quant is
No.
hilarious.
Okay, the Super Quant list is extremely sick. This is piloted by Cursed Eyes, who is maybe the best player in the online scene I have seen in ages. They have like bubbled with Super Quant, like every like for the last like 6 Chalislime monthlies. But E-Telly to 2 was a huge buff to this deck. And Nessie to 2 was
Ooh.
also a huge buff to this deck. And frankly, this is legit. Like, this is not a meme. This is a real deck. It's just your brain has to be like astronomically massive to play it, which is why it doesn't see much play.
Huh. That is
Yep.
interesting.
Go Super Quantums, I guess.
Yeah. And you play like droplets and tactics in the main. Triple tactics talent is huge. This deck makes a lot of Xyz monsters, so it takes really good advantage of Zeus. Magnus is a floodgate that is also massive, that is also towers. And the regular Xyz monsters, like Engineer saw like the blue one, or Grand Pulse, sorry, not Engineer. Grand Pulse saw
Right.
play as like sort of back removal way back in the day. These are quick effects if you have the associated color material attached to them. So the green one, the rank 4, is a Book of Moon, which is pretty legit. Magaliner is a quick effect pop. It's Trident, basically, if you have red under it. And Grand Pulse is spell and trap removal.
Pretty good.
You play Diviner to send Trias Hierarchia, so you contribute Diviner to special summon.
Trias Hierarchia is such a kind of good card.
It is like you look at it and you think it's crazy, but it like only works in specific scenarios, and this is one of them. There was actually a game in the tournament where Cursed Eyes played around an Imperm because they hard drew the Trias Hierarcha. And fun fact, it can activate in hand as a quick effect. So they activate Diviner, they bait the Imperm, and then they tribute the Diviner for Hierarcha to get it off the field to still resolve the Diviner. It is unbelievable.
That's hilarious.
Dude, I was
so
playing
good.
on EDO Pro against the agent deck from the OCG.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. That deck can use Trias Hierarchia. That deck, I've picked up in a playset of ultra rare Trias Hierarchia because of that deck.
It is a really, really good card that just works in very specific scenarios. But yeah, if you want like a really unique deck to learn, it will be tricky. But this is like I'm just looking at this list and I want to build it in paper so bad. I don't know if I'm gonna drop the
That
cash on
deck
the diviners,
is
but
so
it is.
cheap, except for the diviners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, if you go to the MBT Discord, Cursed Eyes has posted a budget version of this list that
Ooh.
is playing Chalices instead of Droplets, and I think Dark Hole instead of Tactics. So definitely go and check that out if you're interested in playing this, but don't want to drop on all the staples.
Yep, definitely a good thing to check out. Blackwing is also interesting. Strix is a heck of a card in MBT's own words.
Mhm.
So yeah. That's about it. The only other note is that Orcus, it's basically Mech Knight.
Oh, there was one of the top 16 Mech Knight lists was on some like extreme spice. Let me pull it up. They were playing a Trap Tricks engine to make columns, and they were playing Gachiri at Ignister. Uh, the,
Really?
yes. So the interesting stuff about this list, this is a Walker of Eclipses. So they're playing 2 Trap Tricks Sarah and 3 Formud Skipper. And so the way that this works is that it's similar to what people would do with Formid Skipper in the Sky Striker engine. Is if you have Formid Skipper, you can reveal the Trap Trick Sarah in your extra deck, right? And then you treat this like card as a link material with the same name, so you can link into Sarah. And so that way, if you see
Huh.
Formid Skipper Shade Brigandine, you can search. So when it's used as link material, you can add a level 5 or higher Cyburst monster from your deck to your hand, right? So you search
Yes.
Parallel Exceed, and then you Exceed for Rafflesia as protection for your combo and also as a disruption. So they're playing Gravedigger's Trap Hole, Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare, and Time Space Trap Hole main deck.
Huh.
But they're also playing Gachiri at Ignister because they can make their link monsters unaffected by searching this.
Hilarious.
It is
That is
really
hilarious.
yeah, it's really, really cool. They're playing World Legacy World Armor for similar reasons as like Ascend. They're on Crossout with like minimal hand trap package, and they're siding into World Legacy Key and World Legacy Whispers to deal with spells and traps. Just a very, very unique list. I don't know if it's. I just had to shout out the
45
spice.
cards.
Yeah, this is like I love seeing stuff like this because this is a lot of very cool innovation. So I wanted to shout it out because a lot of the other lists are like really perfect versions of what they're doing. The B Trooper list and the Earth Machine list are like super cool decks, but they're doing the same thing. This was really doing something different. I really like it.
Crazy.
I mean, that's super cool. You gotta love seeing people coming up with like some new weird interactions like that.
I'm convinced
Yeah.
that Subterra was played because of the meme of Gage.
Yeah. Marmello is also a 1-card column because you add the whole trap card, right? And then you link into Sarah and you can make a column for your Mech Knight. So that's kind of why that they're doing this is that to have a normal summon.
Well, that I think will do it for the talk about the Chalislime monthly.
Hmm.
So, what I do want to say is I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor,
ETB Games in Alexandria, Louisiana.
what he said. So, we are, of course, as you know by now, sponsored by ETB Games in Alexandria, Louisiana. We are very, very thankful for that sponsorship, and we would like to say it is our locals. We claim it as home. It is a spectacular place to go for all of your Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, sports cards, Digimon, D&D, figurines, tabletop gaming, any card game, basically, any board game. If it's got game in the title, there's a pretty solid chance that they have a community there for it. They are now a registered OTS store. They do OTS packs, they do tournaments, they do OTS prizing, like the little mouse pads and all the cool stuff like that. So it is absolutely worth checking out. If you are within a 2 to 3 hour drive, I would recommend that you come to our ETB Battle City days. We have an enormous amount of fun. It is actually like surprisingly competitive for how small the tournaments are. And if you are unable to make it to that, then please check out their link in the description below, etbgames.com. I think that you can do some ordering of some specific things on there. And I think that you can also find them on TCG Player. They don't list as much Yu-Gi-Oh! The Yu-Gi-Oh! Community is a little bit smaller than like the Magic community or the Pokemon community. But we're still here, we're still representing, and they are still very supportive of us, which we are very thankful for. I think, though, that the next thing to talk about is the big news. We've been burying the lead. We actually had an enormous news that we didn't want to talk about quite yet. So, of course, for those that don't know, Konami has announced we have a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series to look forward to, or YCS as it's known. Of course, we got the YCS Remote Duel announcement that will be taking place December, I believe, 11th and 12th. I'm sure the comments will correct me if I'm wrong. But this is the first YCS in-person event held in, by the time this happens, nearly two full years,
Two
which
whole
is
years.
crazy to think about. So we've got YCS Pasadena happening on January 15th and 16th of 2022. So this is the big return to in-person Yu-Gi-Oh! Play for YCSs. I believe we will be getting regional events a bit earlier, but there's no confirmation of that other than a post saying Burst of Destiny will have regionals. So we don't have any exact dates and times for anything like that.
Yet.
But the YCS, for those that don't know, I know that a ton of our listener base is very, very new or returning players. So that's part of the reason that we had Skyhawk here, was because all three of us are, I'm not going to say the most experienced players in the world, because we're not, but we are experienced enough to where we can give you a bit more information and a breakdown about how these YCSs go and what to expect. So we do have some FAQs, some questions that we have questions and answers. So the main event is a big 2-day event that takes place on Saturday and Sunday, and people are going to fly in from all over the world to compete and duel and trade and hang out, whatever. So the main event will be a Swiss tournament with probably 11 or 12 rounds of Swiss at least. And then there will be a top cut. And if I had to guess, if they don't put a cap on this tournament, it's probably going to cut to top 128.
That's a lot of spaces.
Yeah, I can confirm there is actually a cap. So
no cap?
They haven't announced what the actual cap is, but they have said that there is a registration cap.
Okay, so there will be a cap, almost guaranteed, because of spacing in the venue. They probably want to keep some space in between players because of COVID reasons, which COVID is a big factor at this event. So we will talk a lot more about that, the restrictions, but there is something for everybody here. You can do win and mat events. There will be speed duel events. There will be Attack of the Giant card events. There will be regional qualifier tournaments within the YCS. So if you want to go and you scrub out of the YCS in like 3 rounds for whatever reason, and you want to still try to get your invite while you're there, you could literally win a regional while you're there. I mean, you could legitimately enter in like an 80 or 100 man regional mid-event, which is insane to think about completely, to be honest.
And that's something to consider about going to a YCS event in general, is that if you are someone who is like really has really been getting into competitive the last little while, but isn't quite sure if you're there yet, I would still recommend considering going if like the finances and the COVID situation work out for you. Because
Sure.
even if you tank, you go X3 in your first 5 rounds and you have to drop out, you have
Like me.
all of those side events you can do. Yeah. Like my first YCS was Niagara, my only YCS so far, 2019. And I think I bubbled out of that one. But even like getting that far and then not making top cut, there was still like a whole bunch of time in the day to do side events and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like they run stuff all the time. It is like a super grueling experience if like you're there and you're doing well in the main event, like you're playing 10 hours a day kind of thing. But you can just go and like trade with people. You could do side events. There are vendors there that have got like merch and cards and all sorts of random stuff. It's just And there's lots of people there who want to talk Yu-Gi-Oh! And just with lots of mutual interests. So
Yes.
even if you feel like you're not like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do well at the main event or not, doesn't matter. Yeah,
That literally
it's just
doesn't matter. Learn how to play
it,
Speed Duel. Go play some Speed Duel.
Yeah.
yes. Hey, the speed duel prizing is pretty rocking. So
Yeah, the
that
Speed
that's
Duel
not
prizing is cracked.
that's not even a bad move.
Yeah. So,
And they announced there will be a Duel Links event at this YCS as well.
oh, that's true. I
Ooh.
forgot about that. You are correct.
So
It's not really here in the FAQ, but yes, there will be
So for those of you who play Duel Links, there's something to be excited for.
for
Mhm.
sure. So, there are for sure COVID-19 restrictions. There is a large, like 4 paragraphs that I'm going to be honest, I'm just going to go ahead and read it out word for word. That way there's no, well, maybe is it this? Is it this? Did they say that? This is exactly what Konami says in the YCS Pasadena FAQ, which, by the way, there will be for sure a link to this FAQ page in the description of this podcast. It will be, I promise, it's well worth a read.
absolutely.
So Konami says Konami has adopted a mandatory vaccination policy to protect the safety of its attendees. Each attendee 12 years and older will be required to show full proof of vaccination for entry. This requirement may change depending on authorization of vaccine for the under 12 age group. We will update this FAQ if the situation evolves. To be fully vaccinated, an attendee must have received their second dose of the Pfizer, BioNTech, or Moderna vaccine, or a single dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine at least 2 weeks prior to the event. Acceptable proof of COVID-19 vaccination includes a CDC vaccination card, a WHO vaccination card, or a photo of either card printed or on an electronic device. I would imagine that is there. That way people can save their card. Like if they don't want their card getting lost or damaged, they can have the picture of it. But
Hmm.
the card must state the name of the vaccinated person, the type of vaccine received, and the date of the last dose. All players participating in tournaments and any spectators 18 and older must also show a photo ID that matches the identifying information on the vaccination card. No gaming the system. Have your cards ready. Children under the age of 12 will not be required to show proof of vaccination, but instead must show documentation of a negative COVID-19 test taken within 72 hours of the event. The test must be a molecular or antigen test with emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Home tests will not be accepted. The documentation must show the test result, the type of test, the entity issuing the test, and the date of the test. Attendees who are unable to receive a COVID-19 vaccination or vaccine due to a medical condition must instead show a proof of a negative COVID-19 test taken within 72 hours of the event. In addition to the requirements listed above for showing proof of a negative test, these attendees must provide documentation from a healthcare provider verifying that the attendee has a medical exemption from vaccination. This verification must state the attendee's name, the fact that the attendee is medically exempt, and must be signed by a healthcare provider. Konami will be checking proof of vaccination, proof of negative test results, and medical exemption documentation at the entrance of the event. Konami reserves the right to refuse entry to attendees who do not comply with this policy. Face masks must be worn at all times during the event and at the venue. There will be a dedicated food service area for eating and drinking, and face masks may be removed briefly in this area only for eating and drinking. Food and beverages may not be consumed in any area outside of the dedicated eating area. Whew, that was a lot of information to take in.
That's the rundown. Yep.
But here's the thing. It's all very relevant, very important, and to be completely honest, stuff you should probably be doing anyway.
Yep. 100%. Also, big props to Konami for not caving to the anti-vaxxers. This is big. I would have preferred for a negative COVID test to not be a valid requirement for anybody over 12, but I imagine they probably got a lot of advice on this. And frankly, just get vaccinated before you show up to this thing.
The
Like,
thing is, the negative test doesn't even do it for people over 12 unless you also have documentation showing from a like actual healthcare provider.
That you can't be vaccinated due to some kind of health
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, which is few and far between. So
yep, that is very, very, very rare, and I'm sure that they know exactly what is a real one of those and what is not a real one of those. So
right.
Yeah.
So please, 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 if you're planning to attend this event, go get, if you haven't already gotten vaccinated for whatever reason, if there's any chance you attend this event, please go get vaccinated as soon as possible. Because once you get the
Yep.
first dose, you have to wait like 4 weeks before you go back and get the second dose, unless you get a
Mhm.
Johnson & Johnson. And then you have to have those done 2 weeks before the event. So this episode is airing on October 29th. You're looking at 6 weeks just to get your tests done and be 2 weeks safe.
That's a month and a half.
Yeah.
That's like November.
That's
you
that's almost
yeah.
Christmas.
You basically have a month from the air date of this podcast to go do it. So go get it done.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. It's free. You can get it at almost any drugstore at this point. You can get it at your doctor. You can get it. They do clinics, or at least I say all of this. This is all relevant to where we live, where we are. This is in Louisiana. We're in the middle of nowhere. This town still has a lot of Trump flags flying. I'm just gonna leave it at that. That tells you everything you need to know. And they are doing clinics, they're doing drives, they're coming to people's workplaces and offering it. They're doing everything to get this vaccine to everyone, and it is 100% free of charge. Really, it's worth doing.
The only thing it costs you is the time to get it done.
And it literally takes 15 minutes. They go in, the line is almost non-existent because either people have already gotten it or they're just moving people through really quickly because it literally takes 10 seconds. You go in, they jab you with a little needle, they take down your information, they sign your little vaccination card.
Give you the card.
Yep, you wait 15 minutes to make sure there's no adverse reactions and you leave. That's it. It's super easy. They do it in a drive-through. I mean...
Yep. And then even on the card, they'll even say, "Hey, come back at this date."
Yep.
We'll even go ahead and schedule it right here if you want to. Just go over there, get it scheduled. Come back then. We can
They
get you
didn't
taken care
even
of.
they didn't even do that for me. They just said, "Here's when you show up." They didn't even offer like, "Do you want to schedule it?" No, it's just this is when you're coming back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Like for me and my wife, it was we showed up. They gave it to us. They're like, "Okay, cool. Just go over there to schedule your next dose." And we were in and out in literally 16 minutes.
Yeah, it's so easy.
And that was 1 minute to get in, get it done, and then 15 you're just sitting there.
Yeah, playing on your phone, literally.
Yeah.
It's very, very super easy. Like I got both of mine done in like May and July when I was finally eligible, and simple. Just like they had a big center. I waited maybe 10 minutes for the first one and way less than that for the second. And it just super easy. And one last point on like the vaccine thing. I had seen a lot of discussion on various forums, Zodiac Duelist, of like questions around, oh, Konami hasn't said anything about a religious exemption, or this is ridiculous, this is a violation of my rights. No, it's not. Konami is a private entity. They can set whatever entry requirement they want to this event. They could say that you could be between the ages of 40 and 42, and you could only bring into the building like exactly
you have to wear a pink shirt and blue pants.
Yeah. You have to have like an eat more bar or we won't like allow you to enter the YCS. They can set whatever requirements they want, and it is not a violation of your rights at all.
Because you are well within your rights to not attend this event.
Yep, exactly. Like if you don't want to abide by this policy, don't show up. This is the only time you will see me defending Konami on something, but they can set any type of restriction they want for you to enter this event. And this is a super, super basic one to protect everybody's safety. So don't complain about like the setup here. Either do it or don't show up. That simple.
Yep. It's super duper easy. And to be completely honest with you, personally, my own belief and opinions, there's literally just no reason not to. I will take a very hard line stance. I don't take very hard line stances on many things. It's
That's
not in my nature, especially publicly. I don't. I'm not a big person on taking hard line stances, but I will take one here. Please do your part for the other people in your community. Do your part for the other people in this game that we all love together. Please take the time, go get vaccinated, protect your loved ones. I mean, I have a 4-year-old, right? And he literally, they shut down his school for 2 weeks not too long ago because a 4-year-old at his school tested positive. A 4-year-old. Everybody can get it. Don't think that, well, I'm too young or I'm whatever. No. That little 4-year-old girl was running 104 fever for 3 days. It can affect anyone. Do not think you're above it. Go get the vaccination.
Very nice. Now, also, the other, like the positive side to this is the more people who get the vaccine, the more YCS events we can have, and the faster we can have them. So,
True.
if you want more events, this is the way to do it, guys.
Not just YCSs, regionals, anything.
Yes, absolutely.
Regionals, locals, conventions.
If you're a crazy person and you don't like remote dueling for some reason, if you want it to end, this is how you get it to end.
Exactly.
So just go get vaccinated out of spite because you don't want remote duel to exist anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a fan of webcams? I've got a solution for you.
That's right. Here's a needle.
Yep.
I guess that's one way. That might not be the best way to say that, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Exactly. Honestly, at this point, anything that gets people to do it, sure. Like if this requirement gets people who are on the fence about getting vaccinated so that they can go to Yu-Gi-Oh events, then Konami has done a net good. Like at this point, anything that convinces people to do it, I'm on board.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna pipe down about the COVID talk for right now. We don't want this whole podcast to be COVID. What we will talk more though about is the actual event itself. This is big news, and for those that are unfamiliar with the event itself, we do want to go through a little bit of how these events run and how they work. So it'll be a 2-day tournament using advanced constructed decks in Swiss format. What that basically means is you're going to go in, you're going to have your typical advanced TCG deck. You're going to play rounds of Swiss where they pair you against opponents, yada yada, throughout the day.
Win, lose, you're there until you either drop or Swiss tournament's declared over.
Right. So it's not like single elimination. You don't go in, play one round. If you lose, you're out. You can play 10 rounds, whether you lose, win, whatever. So, you play until it's over, and then at the end, they'll take the, say, 32, 64, 128, whatever the ratio is. I think they have to get over 2,064 people to get up to top 64, and over like 4,100 people to get up to top 28 or 128. So typically it's top 32, but when they cut to top 32, it's the 32 best records through Swiss after tiebreakers are the people that get top cut. Hence the name of our podcast, Top Cut Podcast. So
unintended name drop in this situation.
Right, like when they say the name of the movie in the movie.
Yeah.
All right. So the matches will be best 2 out of 3. Very similar. Swiss rounds followed by the single elimination top cut. Rounds are dependent upon number of people that actually register. So it could be 8 rounds, it could be 10 rounds, it could be 22 rounds. We don't know. I doubt 22 rounds. 22 rounds, miss me with that. I'm out. I'm dropping.
Yeah. Do keep in mind that each round is about what's the timer for that? 40 minutes each?
Okay, the time limit is 40 minutes per round of Swiss,
Yeah.
but once you include pairing everybody, getting everybody to their tables, starting the round, finishing the round, doing end of match procedures for the rounds that are going into time, just say an hour at minimum. Say an hour per round.
That's what I was about to say was, because all that extra stuff, it's going to be about 20 minutes of extra stuff just to get the tournament to run properly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Easily.
Important note here too. For those of you used to remote duels, remote duel match timers have been 50 minutes for official events to handle technical issues, having to like look up cards to read them rather than being able to physically reach across. This does not have that. Matches are shorter and it will be a brisker pace, even though you can read cards easier. So do keep that in mind when you're playing. Playing faster will be enforced much more frequently. So
Yes.
do make sure that you keep that in mind when you're going into this.
Yes, absolutely. Very important to note. So you have to pre-register for this event. You have to go on to the registration website and do it, so there will be a link in the description for the big FAQ page, and on that FAQ page there is a link to, so there won't be an additional link for that page, but you can get to it really easy. 2 clicks, you're there.
Yeah.
So the pre-registration, there's a $20 US dollar pre-registration to this. And when you pre-register, you are guaranteed, just for pre-registering, pre-registering and showing up at the event, 5 booster packs of Burst of Destiny, and you get registration. And you get 5 booster packs just for registering at all. But for pre-registration, you also get an exclusive game mat and a promo card. And I can't guarantee this, but in the past, if you pre-register at the event, when you go, you also get a random die, like the dark dice, the water dice, the attribute dice, the spell dice, the trap dice.
Yeah.
So we don't know, but I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. There could also be some cool dice. There's always some little goodies that you get, tokens, whatever.
Yep.
Oh yeah, like there's no telling what you'll get.
Yeah.
Yep. Konami's whole thing is that because they don't offer cash prizing for events, their like stated motif is that you have to get commensurate prizing for entering an event, whether that's a locals or a regional. So if you
Right.
pay like $10 for entry, you have to get 2 booster packs, or $5 for entry, you get 1 booster pack, for example. This is there, so like $20. I mean, I'm saying that in Canadian dollars, but for you guys, it'd be $4 a booster pack, I guess. So the 5 packs, but they're tossing in a mat. I think we know what the mat is. I think we know that it'll be like a YCS Pasadena specific mat, because they always have mats for like specific YCS events. But
Especially big ones like this.
we don't know what the promo card is. And I'm very interested in this because I don't know if this would be like more copies of the Amabi promo that they've done for remote duels.
I hope not.
Or if it's something completely different. So this
I've already
is
got a
interesting.
playset of a Mobby. I don't want the same one. I want a new one.
Yeah, true. Also, the dice are very cool. Although the logo has faded on it because I used it so much, I probably should have used it less. I got the trap dice when I went to Niagara, and it's quite pretty. It's got like those, and I also, for making it to the invitational, I got some of the Pharaoh dice, which have the Millennium items on it and have like a nice, cool, like kind of like golden color to them.
Oh, that is cool.
So yeah, you can get those die in this. You can get all sorts of stuff. So if they do have dice, you'll get it in like a little black bag when you register. It's pretty sick.
Okay, so speaking of keeping at a brisk pace, we also need to move along. So, and then for public events, no, I'm not trying to rush you. It's just there's a lot to cover, and we don't actually have that much time left.
You good?
For public events registration, that'll be like a by the day thing. So this will be held at the Pasadena Convention Center in downtown Pasadena, California, which is basically LA. So it's at the very, very north tip of LA. So if you fly in, you'll fly to LAX, and you're going to pay like $80 for a freaking Uber ride or Lyft ride to Pasadena, which is the worst. But that's the price of doing business, I guess. So the event schedule. And that's actually a very important thing to note. I've been doing a lot of planning because we really want to go, which we're going to talk about later. But if you do decide to go to this, there is no Uber in Pasadena. For whatever reason, Uber is not in Pasadena. It must be some kind of regional, local law thing. Uber is in like LA, but it's not actually in Pasadena. So you have to do Lyft while you're in Pasadena. Lyft is all over Pasadena. Uber is not. I don't know. It's weird. So the event schedule for the main event: Friday, January 14th at noon. Starting at noon, ending at 6. There is a mandatory on-site check-in. And then there will be on-site pre-registration, if available, also on Friday from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if there's pre-registration slots available, which there won't be, then that Friday you can pre-register from 3 to 7.
Yeah.
But if otherwise, you just need to check in on site, which I'm guessing is when they give you your playmat and stuff at Friday between 12 and 6.
Yeah.
So
One quick little interjection on that.
sure.
Do not plan around there being pre-reg spots. If you
Just
don't,
do not. Yeah.
if you aren't able to register tomorrow, unless you're like, I'm gonna grind all the side events and that's gonna be my trip. Don't plan on going if you want to compete in the main event and you don't get a pre-reg spot, because there won't be very money. There'll be a lot of people there and you'll be spending a lot of
Yes.
money on a hotel room to not be able to compete. So keep that in
Yes.
mind.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Closest airport is LAX. And actually, a little bit closer is the Bob Hope Airport in Burbank. It's like half the distance. But I'm just going to be honest. I would probably just do LAX because I think it's going to be a lot cheaper to fly into. Also, if I had to guess, with LAX being one of the biggest airports in the world and one of the busiest airports in the world, if I had to guess, I would also guess that at LAX, the traffic situation would be a little bit better. Just because that sounds crazy, but I would imagine that they have freeways and highways and interstates designated just for LAX. So I can't say that for sure. I've never been to LAX. Hopefully, I'll go in January. We'll see. But yeah. So
Sonny is the expert here on transportation, so definitely heed his advice here.
I have traveled quite a lot in my time being a driver and then living all over the place. So what happens at a YCS? Big 2-day event.
Lots of little side events.
Lots of little side events, competitive or casual. There's something for everyone. Are there cover requirements? Yes, we talked about that earlier. I'm literally just going through the Konami FAQ page. When can I register? This is important. You'll need to pre-register, like we said. Duelists. Wait. Pre-registration will remain. Oh, it says it's open now. That's false. Well, I guess at time of airing, it's open.
Yeah,
But at time of recording, it doesn't open until tomorrow on Thursday. But this opens now. It's as of airing, it's already opened. So
or register if you haven't already, because I have.
Yeah, hopefully by the time this airs, I will already be registered. So space is like extremely limited, and the event is like, even says here it's likely to sell out. It's guaranteed to sell out. I don't know how many spaces they have, but it's gonna sell out. So be ready. Duelists who successfully pre-register must still arrive at YCS Pasadena and check in on Friday, January 14th to confirm their spot in the tournament, or their spot will be forfeited and their entry will be refunded after the YCS. So you have to be there and you have to check in early
to get your stuff.
Right. And I'm assuming at pre-registration check-in is when you're going to get your stuff, as well as they're going to check all your COVID requirements. So it says, how do I check in? If you're pre-registered, you just need to arrive on site at the convention center between 12 and 6 on Friday, January 14th. Follow the signs to check in and confirm your spot. At this time, you'll receive your commensurate pricing once they are confirmed at check-in and your vaccination status verified. Dang, I got ahead of myself. That's crazy. All right. Pre-registration is sold out. Is there anything I can do to participate? Yeah, so this is what we've talked about. No guaranteed spots for pre-registration if the event is sold out. Seating is very limited. Public events alone, I guess, are not a great weekend to travel like across the world. But like, if you have a spot, I would go. That's just me. There will be security.
If you're like really close, go do public events and you don't make the main event. But like, if you're far away, it's probably not worth it.
I would say if you're within like 4 hours of the event, I would go.
Yeah,
I would drive it.
Because then you can day trip it.
Yeah, 4 hours you can day trip it. That's my barometer.
You could just pick one day of side events, go play for 6 hours, drive back. Yeah.
I will absolutely say a Sunday regional at a YCS is very small but way more competitive, because you have the players that bubbled out in day 2 coming in for the events. So
Who also likely still have friends who made day 2, and that's why they're still there.
yeah, so or they've already booked their flights and stuff leaving on. I'm booking if I get to go. I'm booking my flight to fly in on Thursday and leave on Tuesday
Fair.
because that's the cheapest way to get airfare.
That is true, actually.
So, what security information should I know? There will be security personnel and local police on site. Who can I contact if I have questions? There's a tournament organizer, Core TCG, and there's a Konami representative. So, will there be coverage? Yes. Feature matches will be live streamed, and there will also be online coverage and other updates at the YCS available at such and such link. And
This is cool, actually.
Yeah, the feature matches
minor
and top cut matches will be streamed on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, minor interjection here again. Traditionally, North America has not had streams. We did get one for the Vegas 3v3, but then everything shut down and that was it. Hopefully, this means that we're getting streams for all of the North America YCSs going forward. And if so, finally, thank you, Konami.
Yeah, for real. It's been long
That's
enough,
all.
honestly.
I've been complaining about this since I got back in the game. No lie.
I've been complaining about this since I started playing the game.
Yeah. The fact that this seems to imply that we're going to have this for all the North American ones going forward. Excellent. Amazing.
Big if true. Yeah, I'm also
Big if.
Yeah, I would really like to see them also stream it on their Twitch because it's kind of crazy to me that the Konami official Twitch account has less followers and subscribers than Distinct Coder or MBT or Farfa.
I mean, they barely have anything ever, so
Yeah, but what's funny is if okay, let's say Farfa's doing his stream, right? And Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami, the official Konami, goes online, Farfa's stream will have 5 to 10 times more people at any given time than the official Konami stream, no matter what.
fair.
Yeah. He could have just his face cam on live reacting to the Konami news, and everybody would just be like, cool, I'm just gonna watch Farfa. That's crazy.
Yep.
And that's because they don't try.
I think they are slowly starting to try though. Like it's a company where business practices has to jump through a lot of hoops to get
Yeah.
stuff done. So if I will take steps in the right direction on this one, and for it to be like an actual YCS rather than like a specific invitational, is actually a very big deal because the
Yes.
3v3 did actually have a lot of viewership, if I remember correctly. But you're right that it's like if MBT is hosting the Chalislime monthly and Konami is holding like the Duel Links Invitational, MBT has like 600 more viewers, and Farfa would have 700, 800 more viewers. So I do think a little bit of that is on Konami to be like, hey guys, you should come and watch our events because they're cool.
Or even better, get Farfa or MBT to commentate it.
Mm-hmm.
They would do Farfa and you know it.
They would do Farfa, yeah. I don't know how much I can say. There's
Yeah, I know.
There are specific people that Konami does not want to work with, and I will put it that way.
Yeah, and we'll just leave it at that. But they would work with Farfa. Anyway, so
they have worked with Farfa, yeah.
Yeah, they have. He's done commentary for them, but only in the EU. We need him in America. All right, so
true.
If you want to vend at the event, you can also contact the Konami support team. So, which is cool, I guess, if you want to do that. So, okay, that's all the YCS talk so far. We actually do want to take one more thing. So, Caleb and I would really love to go to this event, and we really want to go. So we've been out of the game for 8 years now, like almost a decade or 7 years, whatever. Whenever 6 years. Wow, it was only 6 years. It feels like 10.
I know, right?
Because basically the last year that we've been back in the game, we've had no game. So
yeah,
we got back into the game. We wanted to socialize. We wanted to be around people. We could not do that. Well, I mean, we could, but like not in person. And now this is finally a chance for us to socialize and be around people in person. Meet so many of the fans and the other creators and all the really cool people that we've met. And we would really love to do that. But the podcast is not yet generating enough revenue to pay for this trip on its own. So we are going to be putting in some Patreon goals, and we are going to be hoping and praying and asking for some help from you, the listeners. We are hoping to go on a dream. We have a goal in mind of $1,500 that we would like to raise, and that would go exclusively towards Caleb and I's airfare, hotel, basically food, entry fee to the tournament if we want to do side events, whatever. And it would also have to pay for the extra bag fees because we would bring all of our recording equipment with us on the trip, and we would be doing a podcast episode every evening that we are there and posting it the following morning. So, what that means for you, the viewers, is listeners, not viewers. If we get to our goal and we reach our goals during the event, you will be getting the most live, up-to-date information that we've ever given you on the podcast. We would be giving you just go-by-go information. Our hotel room would be ideally either at the venue for the event because there's a hotel attached, or there's another hotel that's like a quarter of the price, like 4 blocks away. So we would be able to go get you up-to-date event, and I am really, really super duper hoping that if we can go to this event, that we can snag a couple of really cool guests. Because I have the feeling that we will get to meet a ton of extremely cool people. I can't guarantee that, but I can try to work it out in advance with a couple of people that I do know. So, and of course, I think Giant Skyhawk said he's already going. So that would be really cool to meet Giant Skyhawk in person, and we can do a live in-person podcast recording without having to use remote recording software.
Yeah, not 100%, but I'm pre-registered and it's like 95%. I'm quite certain that I'll be there.
Yep. So we're going to pre-register as soon as pre-registration opens tomorrow. And
for all of you, it would have been yesterday.
Right. So please, if you are financially able and willing, we ask that you please check out the Patreon. It is a huge, huge, huge part of our goals. And if you decide past the event to not stay at the Patreon, we understand. But if you do, understand that we can also take that money and put it towards better stuff for the podcast, better equipment, better everything. We can start getting actual cameras and setting up like real regular live streams. It gives us the ability to do a lot more. And going to this event is part of it. I'm going to be really upfront and honest. I don't see us getting to that goal. I would be blown away by everybody's generosity if we did.
Smacked.
Yeah, but
there's a $5 word.
I'm going to be honest. Even if we don't hit the goal, I still plan on going. I'm going to find a way. In fact, Caleb was here. I just sold like over $100 worth of cards. I'm starting to bag. I'm going to start door dashing when I get off my 12-hour shifts at work.
Yeah, unfortunately, if this doesn't work out, I might not be able to go. Unfortunately, which is sad, but understandable.
Yeah. So, we really, really want to go. We want to provide this coverage for you, the listeners, and we want to go and get to meet all these cool people and have a good time. And we want to see you and meet you there at the event. So if you're going to this event, this might be like your best chance to meet us in person because we plan on being there. So please consider if you haven't already. And to those that have, thank you seriously so much. It means the world to us. So in the meantime, we will continue to work our schedule that we always work. We will be continuing to do our regular episodes every Tuesday, every Friday, and our Patreon episodes every Wednesday. That is 3 days a week for those that are subscribed on Patreon. You get access to our very cool series that we're doing where we review every set and how it shapes the meta throughout the game's history, and not just every set, but every product. So we're doing video game promos. We're doing the jump promos that are relevant. We're doing
Pins,
McDonald's promos,
structure decks, starter decks.
special editions.
In chronological order.
Yeah. So please be sure to check it out. Be sure to check out Giant Skyhawk with whatever he's doing at that time and on that day. Because,
that
it's
is
always
pretty
something
accurate
different.
summary of what I do.
Yeah.
You were saying McDonald's promos with the legendary Aqua Dragon? Oh man, I
Yeah.
gotta sign up to the Patreon so that
Yeah.
I can listen to this.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
the
good
epic
idea.
Shield, Millennium Shield,
yeah.
Cosmo Queen.
Goddess of
Yeah,
Whim.
yeah.
What's crazy is the most playable cards out of those McDonald's promos these days are all the fusions because of Ready Fusion.
Yep.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, literally some of the absolute best Ready Fusion targets were McDonald's promos.
Mm-hmm.
So, the last thing we do want to talk about is the podcast question of the day. So, we started this segment a few episodes ago, probably about 3 or 4 episodes ago, and I'm telling you, this is blown up. Really, I mean,
The last one was big, yeah.
the last 2 have been this one, and this one's even bigger than the last one. This one, so like I can see the engagements on Twitter, and it is the biggest tweets we've ever done, like consistently now. So,
Well, good to hear that people have opinions and are willing to give them.
oh yeah. The Yu-Gi-Oh community definitely has their opinions.
Yep,
So,
that is a hallmark sign of a
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh player. Yep.
and it helps that we are nostalgia pandering and pandering to people's like true emotions with these questions. They are hitting
Fair.
hard. So, the podcast question of the day is: what card, or this is the last one that we're going to read the answers. What card do you hate the most, except for Dragoon and Mystic Mind? Those are cheating. So we got a lot of great answers. The Legacy Crusaders channel, Benji, for those that don't know him, is very great. He's in the Discord server, which you should join.
Super cool dude.
Yes. He says Artifact Lancey and Abyss Dweller that are full turn floodgates that are kind of hard to stop with like no restrictions on when you can use them, but like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
rough.
just shotgun them during the standby phase. If your opponent doesn't have like Call by the Grave.
Yeah, it's tough. Oh, and then that
Yep.
Call by the Grave doesn't stop Abyss Dweller.
Yeah. They don't have Call by the
Yeah.
Grave for the Lancia or like the Imperm or something, whatever.
Right. They have to have the exact answer. So, King Scarlet Yu-Gi-Oh! Love him. He's so funny. Like not really specific cards, but these 3 types in no order. Cards that one cannot respond to. Oh boy. Yeah.
Spell speed 4.
You're talking my game.
Super polymerization.
I hate that card so much. That's my answer to this question. Actually,
Yeah.
Super Poly. It actually is.
Listen. I've played several decks throughout my history that have all played Super Poly. I hate that card exists.
Dude, I hate
Yep.
Super Poly so much.
Says the guy who plays it.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it is like, well, I mean, that's the duality, right? You play what you're going to do to win, but like,
Yeah.
it really
Doesn't
should
mean
not
I'm
be
gonna like
around.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
He also said cards that can negate multiple times in a turn, like the Herald, Appaloosa, and I guess this also goes for Dolka.
Noted floodgate. Appaloosa.
Yeah. Noted floodgates. Cards that shut down an entire mechanic. So yeah, that's modern day Yu-Gi-Oh for you. We got Nibiru's. Oh, that was Shiggy's that said Nibiru. Yeah. Nibiru, Judgment Dragon. Well, if Shiggy's just playing at Ignister, she would say Nibiru. Judgment Dragon, Herald of Perfection and Ultimateness. Yeah. Forbidden Droplet. True. RJ from the Sealed Showdown series. He likes to respond to these now. He said the Pot of Avarice. He hates that card because it seems like every time his opponent plays it, they draw exactly what they need and he insta loses.
That's fair.
Yeah. He has this awesome story where his opponent top decks they got an open field and a pike in hand, and he's playing Watts, and he's about to top 8 a regional with Watts, and his opponent's like Mermail, and so he's got 2 Watts up with 3 back row. His opponent top decks Avarice, and they draw into Heavy Storm and Dragoon and immediately kill him. That's tragic. Mystic Swordsman. That's an interesting answer. That must be a goat thing.
Oh yeah, no. Mystic Swordsman level 2. That just kind of says that's a nice flip effect monster. It'd be a shame if something was to happen to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
goat legal Drillroid, basically.
Yeah. OTK Link 4 is like Boral Sword and Access Code. Revolt and look at that Ultimateness. Ulti Canahawk.
Fair.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a story behind this one.
That's a combo link thing, I think.
Yeah.
Like Ulticana, just because, I mean, they don't really take a long time, but they can take a long time.
For sure. Eva, Soul Release, that's a Tatsumancer. That Soul Release, I think that one's one that causes cards to miss timing, which might be part of it.
I thought Soul Release was the banish 5 cards out of your opponent's graveyard.
No, that's that's
No, so Soul Release, I'm pulling up the text
send one
right
monster
now.
in your opponent's out of the field to the graveyard, then they gain 1,000 life
I thought that was Soul Charge.
No.
No, Soul
No, so
Charge,
Soul-
you just pay life points in increments of
Alright, I've
1,000
got
and
it.
summon that many monsters.
So-
He's got it.
Triggered.
Soul Release is a normal spell card. Select up to 5 cards from either you or your opponent's graveyard,
Oh.
and this is old PCST, and remove them from the current duel. So you banish
Hilarious.
them.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, I had never. I thought it was the one where like it's like the hand grabbing a blue orb and it's
Yeah.
That's like soul absorption or spell absorption or something.
No. The one where it causes everything to miss timing because when you act, it came out in like 2013 or something.
Yeah, like it was
Oh.
great for stopping Light Pulsar.
Yeah, because like it would, or 2012, I guess. It would literally just send one monster in your opponent's out of the field of the graveyard. Then your opponent gains 1,000 life points, and it causes everything to miss timing.
Soul Taker.
Soul Taker. That's the card I was thinking it was.
That's the card you're thinking of. Yep.
Yeah. Card I hate the most, Ash Blossom. That's a popular take on here. Alistair, and it's not even close. Herald of Ultimateness. Magic Cylinder. Last week in locals, I lost 2 games of Magic Cylinder. Ooh, that's rough, buddy.
Dude, imagine thinking you're about to go for game and your opponent just flips a Magic Cylinder.
Twice. That's rough.
Twice.
There is Magic Cylinder support in Burst of Destiny.
True.
There is.
True.
It's also kind of, and it's also like Rocket adjacent, because it's the cylinder from
Field spell.
from the field spell. You know that all the rocket monsters are loaded into, but you're loading magic cylinders into it instead, which is hilarious.
What is the name of that field spell? Oh, there's 3 of us here. One of us has to know the name of that field spell.
Okay, what field spell is this?
The Rocket field spell.
The one that searches.
Freaking Boot Sector Launch.
Yeah,
yeah. Like
it's got it's got Boot Sector Launch on it. Misc, and it isn't even close. That's tough, buddy.
Sag.
Quick launch. Any disruption from the hand, such as hand traps. Boy, you must hate modern Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Dark Hole, because I lost so much to it as a kid. Fair. Winda and Invoke Macabre. Boy, I bet you hate that deck.
There was a lot of Winda in the thread, yep.
Somebody just listed out an entire combo, and it goes engage, search, engage, draw 1, engage, search, engage, draw 1, engage, search, draw. Just a whole engage thing. I guess it's engage because they said engage 18 times.
It's got to be.
IO, actually a floodgate.
Very true.
Cards I hate, ones I lose to. Cards I love, ones I win with. These may be the same cards. Fair. That's fair.
He's got a valid point.
Denko Sekka with red reboot close behind. I've never played against Denko Sekka, so I don't know. But red reboot sucks when you're playing Eldritch. IO. It's the only floodgate that also removes the main method of removing floodgates, making it harder to out. True. That's
fair.
That's another good argument.
I mean, just run
Eldritch the Golden Lord, moron. What are you doing? Just run Trap Eater. Come on.
They replied to their own comment. Yes, I do play Striker and
Yeah. I remember that.
Next comment, Intis. Next one, Red Eyes, Black Dragon, and Dark Magician, because they always find their way into my hand. Hey, he didn't say Dragoon. He got around that. It's credit.
True.
You got me there.
Any VW player. Go ahead.
Yeah. And this is an interesting answer because it's like it's kind of present and it's a bit annoying, but it's not like all the way around. So I really like that as an answer.
Kind of techie.
Yeah.
Any VW player who texts this in, which is the Vermilion Math Mech Final Sigma. Geomath Mech Final Sigma.
Geomath Mech Final Sigma Male, yes.
Yeah, Sigma Male. Yeah, dude, that card's so funny. Winda or Sky Striker Ray, evenly matched. Another Winda, summon limit, Winda. Wow, I'm noticing a theme. Madolche Ticket. That guy just must.
That was me. Madolche Ticket was my answer.
Yeah, that guy must just hate sweet stuff.
Ticket is like my problem. I have an irrational hatred for Madolche ever since it came out. Like Ticket is like Oh, if your card goes to the graveyard, you could just add it back to your hand, and one of the times it does that, you can special summon one from your deck. What? What?
Hey,
Who made this?
What about a card that says you can't respond to, or all your monsters on your field are unaffected by your opponent's card effects? Huh? How's that okay? Huh?
Just play Ash Blossom and fix the activate your battle phase. Smile.
Listen. I'm a Madolche gremlin, and I'm aware of my gremlin crimes and have no regrets.
Yeah.
No regrets.
That is,
I have a regret, but no regrets.
you have a yogurt, but no regrets.
Oh.
got
I'll
something
avoid
to
the obvious IO Herald and say every good pot card. They're saying like it's crazy that it's free for all intents and purposes in the decks that play them, and the fact that everyone gets their own flavor of pot of greed is absurd. I can understand that. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy, but welcome to today's Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. Tikaboo, yeah, I hate that card too. Everything that has prank kids in its name, yeah, I hate those too. Appliance or Laundry Dragon, King Scarlet feeling
That was-
called out.
Yeah.
Ojama Trio, the worst card ever in GOAT. Secret Village of the Spellcasters sucks. Smoke Grenade, banned.
Bam.
Floodgates in general, whether there's something like Mystic Mine. Hey, wait a minute, we talked about this. IO, that is a floodgate. Or a hand trap like Droll, also a floodgate. Oh man, there's even more replies. Gosh, there's so many.
Yeah.
More
think
Imperial
my-
Orders. Somebody said Mirage Tube.
Yeah, I love this answer actually. So if you don't know what Mirage Tube does, it's a quick play spell that says this card cannot be activated from your hand.
Wait,
So-
what?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a GX era quick play spell, and it says
But
this
you
card.
can't activate it from your hand.
Right. So activate only when a face-up monster you control is selected as an attack target. Inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent.
So this is amazing because the whole concept of quick play spells is that you can activate them from your hand, but this is a quick play spell that you can't activate
So-
from your hand.
So why not just make it a trap?
That's exactly the reason they said they hated it. Obviously not because it's good, but because there is zero reason for it to be a quick play spell instead of a trap.
Yep.
It's one of the stupidest
Wait.
cards in the game.
I could see exactly one situation where the fact that it's a quick play spell, not a trap, could possibly come up.
All right, lay it on me.
Magician of Faith.
Yes, let me Magician of Faith my Mirage Tube. Graceful Charity? No. Dark Hole? Not a
Hit me
chance.
with that.
Mirage Tube. Rush Recklessly? Garbage. Give
To
me
be
that Mirage
fair-
Tube.
To be fair, if your opponent has less than 1,000 life points, you flip that off and grab that back. That's game. They can't attack you anymore until they get rid of it.
No, they can still attack you that turn because you can't play it from your hand.
You can't play.
But no. You flip summon, set it, and pass.
Oh, yep. Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, we have found the big brain way to play Mirage Tube.
And then you just stare at them.
All right, so we're all agreed. Like after this podcast ends, we're gonna build like a combo deck whose entire purpose is to get Magician of Faith set on your field and Mirage Tube in your graveyard, right?
Well,
You
your
can do it.
opponent has less than 1,000
I can probably do it with Misc Baby. Yeah.
Oh, probably, yeah. I think anything's possible with Miss Baby, to be honest. Then okay, in the Discord we had a lot of discussion on this. Time Thief Redoer. There's apparently Cam he just hates this card. He says really obnoxious. Basically it just always takes junk in his own words. It always be taking junk. So which I just think is funny. Blue Eyes, which is of course the best answer. Cam still ranting. Have you ever had your Red Eyes Fusion top deck snatched in a simplified game state by Redoer? Or
This is so funny.
had
to
Red
me.
Eyes Fusion in hand and in standby snatches your Dark Magician that you drew.
Redoer is like some of the most unique card design for a card and an archetype in ages. This guy's like, I hate it. It takes my stuff. I love this. Yeah.
It takes my stuff.
Talk about a thief.
He always doing junk.
Hey.
So funny. It's so funny. Just he always doing junk. Just I love
Mhm.
him so much. That's why he refuses to play the Raid Raptor engine because he
Somebody-
basically has to play Redoer.
Somebody in the Discord posted that they don't like Saralee, Guru of Dark World.
Yeah, because it always be taking junk.
Because it always
thing.
be taking junk.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you put them on discard. Yeah. Lost World. Yeah, that card's horrible, right?
See, Lost World is like my favorite card for all of the reasons that they listed that it was their least favorite card.
Yeah. Gravekeeper's Trap Hole, but I think they meant Grave Digger's Trap Hole.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Redoer is also annoying. That's true. For me, it's Access Code Talker right now, even more so than Dragoon. I guess that's all right, but Access Code, at least if the game's not over, then you can you can out it. My sister says Pot of Greed because she hasn't played the game since 2004, so she doesn't know it's banned. But yeah,
Fair.
I think that's about. Oh, Super Poly. Yeah, here's where Super Poly came in. Yeah, that's true. Playing against Sidra as Earth Machines. That's rough,
And then someone
buddy.
posted
Yep.
Shadal Fusion was the last answer, and that's
Yeah.
fair.
That's
Seeing
very
like
fair.
you've got ED monsters on the field, you see a Shadal Fusion come down. It's like, man, if I negate this, then if they have another one, they can just activate it again. If I don't have Ash, it's like they're gonna do like 3 effects. So I totally get this one. That's rough.
Yeah, that's a totally fair and legitimate point.
Hey, Sonny, remember that big brain play you did on me whenever I activated Shadal Fusion? You had Dryden on the field.
Yeah, just pop my Trident. It doesn't
Pop your
change
own
the rule
Trident.
equation. Yeah,
Then I'm just like, oh no.
That's when you have the monsters in hand.
I mean, I did, but I went, oh no.
Yeah, dude, I did that once against a guy at a tournament at one of our ETB Battle City days. I was like, oh man, big brain. Trident pop itself. He's like, oh, that sucks. Reveal them in hand. Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. All right, so today's podcast question of the day, going into the weekend, be sure to answer it before Sunday. That way you can make it into the next episode. So we just did what card do you hate the most? What card do you love the most? I don't care what the reason is. What card do you just absolutely love, just unreasonably? Just you
That could be
gotta have it.
That could be like the artwork, the card, just the way the card works.
Any reason.
Any reason. Just what card do you just love the most? I'll answer this right here. Mine is Gate Guardian. I love Gate Guardian. I don't know why.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I do know why. I know exactly why. I had the 2 episodes of the Labyrinth and like the Labyrinth episodes for
The
like
original anime.
like when it originally aired, I taped them on VHS on one VHS tape, and I rewatched them over and over and over as a kid. So like I love Gate Guardian. The Paradox episodes were my favorite.
Fair.
What about you, Caleb?
Oh, that's a tough one.
You
If I
need more
had to say one particular card, it would probably be Future Fusion pre-errata.
Oh,
That's fair. That's bonkers, yeah.
Particularly because I was at a local playing Chaos Dragons, and I won the dice roll. Drew 5, looked at my hand, shuffle. Activate Future Fusion. Let's go to game 2.
Yeah,
That was the whole round 1.
Yep.
That's true. I think for me, it probably has to be Terror King Salmon. Just just because I mean I could answer like any number of dinosaur monsters. Probably second place would be Jurak Titano, specifically because it was just such a stupid dumb idiot you could summon off of pill for calamities. But Terror King Salmon is just like the funniest thing ever with the stupid deck synergies and stuff, and I've loved being the lead Terror King Salmon propagandist in the online space. So
I love it so much.
It's
Salmon
so
all the
funny.
way.
For those that don't know, you can always join our Discord server at any time and hear all of his Terror King Salmon propaganda, because he went on about it for like 30 minutes in a group chat the other day.
Yeah. My second favorite card though is definitely Des Lakota.
That card is funny.
Pac-Man, pure advantage camel munches all noobs.
Caleb plays Pac-Man in Edison format.
I've
And
lost
it's really, really
Edison
good.
format.
It's really
I've lost
good.
one match.
He's lost
Oh
exactly
my
one
God.
match. I've only gotten one game off of him with that deck playing Quick Draw Dandy Warrior.
Unreal.
It's
one
hilarious.
Yes.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah. And for those that want that deck list, get us to Ycs Pasadena and we'll give it to you. All right, everybody.
It doesn't have a side deck. I'm sorry.
Yet. It will. It will if we get a Ycs Pasadena. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you in advance for all the wonderful love and support that you always send our way. The podcast has just grown by, I mean, absolutely insane numbers since we started. We're over like 11,000 total plays now, which doesn't sound like a lot when you think about the YouTubers that get like 20, 50, 100, whatever thousand views on every video that they post.
But we're a podcast, which is inherently a smaller group.
Small platform. Yeah.
There you go.
So, but, and just to be starting out being like, what, 7 months into this at this, six months?
6 to 8.
Yeah, we're like 6 months into this at this point, and we've already got like 11,000 listens. We've got, I think, like 300 followers or whatever on Spotify. We actually can check that number. So if you're not already following on Spotify, please do that. We couldn't check that number until very recently. We've grown by leaps and bounds. The Discord server has like over 100 and some members in it now. It's crazy to me how much we've grown and how quickly we've grown, and the friends we've made in the community, the wonderful love that we get thrown our way every time we post a podcast question of the day, or every time we host a discussion on the Discord server, on Twitter, whatever. The amount of love that the community shows toward us is staggering. I don't know why. We suck. I know that, but so I don't know why people love us so much.
We're getting better.
Yeah. So, but thank you everybody so much for listening, for the loves, the support. It means a lot. We put a lot into this. Like, we actually really do. And I know I'm just rambling at this point, but we put an enormous amount into this. Like, I work 12-hour days every day. Caleb stays very, very busy himself. And like, it's almost midnight to get off work and just come home and record, get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock again the next morning to go back to work, and then come home, record again, and then record a third time on the weekend. Yeah, we stay going, and it's because we love doing this. We love the interaction with the community. We love all the people that we've met along the way, and we really couldn't be in a happier place right now. And especially with events coming back, we're looking forward to recording in some hotel room in California. So thank you everybody so much for listening and tuning into today's episode. Be sure to check back in on Tuesday. We will be in November. No Shave November, boys. Let's go. So be sure to check into be sure to check into the next episode. Be sure to check out the Patreon. The link is in the description below. Check out ETB Games. Their link will also be in the description below. If you need any more information on YCS Pasadena, or we didn't even talk about YCS Utrecht, also has been announced. Yeah. It is the weekend after Pasadena. If you're rich, you can go to both. If you live in Europe, you can just go to the Utrecht one the following weekend. The YCS Pasadena grain creators will be legal. YCS Utrecht will be new ban list, more than likely, depending on what happens with the ban lists at that time. Because it's all ban list season. So, because Pasadena, if everything holds true, will be the current ban list. So, I know that was information we should have given you a long time ago, but I just remembered. Yeah. So, lots going on. So, be sure to check out our sponsor. Be sure to check out our Discord server. Be sure to check out our Twitter at Top Cut Podcast, where we will post the podcast question of the day. Hopefully by the time you hear the end of this episode. And although that's never happened yet. So, and be sure to check out Team Dark Arm Dealings. They're our sister channel. Their link is in our YouTube description below. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, and be sure to check out whatever Skyhawk is doing on any given day. I guess go follow him on Twitter. I don't know. He's doing different things at different times. So
that works. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.